Hi, this is What You Waiting For, a woman's perspective on camping and survival. And I just got through watching a video on the YouTube from Patriot Nurse. And it was about talking to your women and newbies about prepping. And I've also seen a couple different little videos about women and prepping. And I've had a lot of comments about, oh, I wish my wife, would start prepping, and I wish my wife was more interested in prepping. So I thought I'd do a video. And I agree with Patriot Nurse, about what she said, but I wanted to go in a little bit deeper. Um, First of all, if you're trying to talk to your wife about prepping, I would not, as Patriot Nurse, say, start off with the guns and, hey, this is my AK-47, all this stuff. But I wanted to give you a little background on me. I was a really big tomboy when I was young. I was probably my father's son, I guess you'd say, because he never had any boys. So I was always the one that hung out with him. I loved to go hunting with him. I loved to go fishing with him. Camping, we would do a lot of camping. Uh, he taught me a lot about animals and keeping animals. And then my mom was great too, because she really instilled in me some of the things like canning, crocheting, trying to get me, I guess, a little bit more girly in the kitchen. But but anyway, it's the opposite with our situation, because I'm the one that loves to go camping, that loves to prep, that loves to do all these things to prepare, and my husband was really turned off about it. He never, in fact, until he met me, he never had went camping in his life. He had never went fishing in his life. He hated anything to do with camping. And hopefully I helped turn him around a little bit. But I was going to tell you some things that we did, and something that you might try with your wife or husband, if he's the one, or someone, maybe a neighbor that you want to get involved, or a brother, or even your children. And an easy way to get started is to really look at the situation of real emergencies that they can really think of. I wouldn't start out talking about, oh, if shoot hits the fan, or if without rule of law, or if there's a martial law is, enacted. I would start out with very simple emergencies that, in their eyes, are very likely. For example, ours turning point for my husband was Katrina, and my children. When Katrina happened, he saw the devastation. He's seen that the people were not prepared, that the government wasn't going to sit there and bail them out, and sometimes you have to rely on yourself. So that was a great way to get everything started. He agreed, with us having hurricanes here, because we live in Texas. We don't have as many as if we lived on the coast, but we do get some. That a food supply, yeah, it's a smart idea. Having a bug out bag is a good idea. The only thing is we called it a 72-hour kit. And when you're talking to people that are new, if you start saying, oh, a bug out bag or a bug out plan, you're going to really sort of scare them, because they're going to be so overwhelmed. They're going to think, bug out bag, what? That's like the end of the world, and the end of the world is not coming. But you have to prepare them for smaller situations. A 72-hour kit does not have the same connotation to a newbie as a bug out bag. So for my children and my husband, we decided to make a 72-hour kit, and that could be used for any kind of emergency that might happen that we have to leave home. Now, if I would have said, we're making a bug out bag and this is in case martial law is enacted, we have to leave, it would scare him, and he wouldn't be as receptive as he has. So we started out, same with emergency plans. Instead of saying these are our bug out plans, you know what? Talk to them. What will we do if there's an emergency? If they told us, like the fires in California, What would we do in that case? Well, why don't we sit down and put together an emergency plan? And that they are more receptive on that because they want to help, their family be safe. But if you're coming off and talking about shoot hit the fan and the end of the world and, without rule of law, it has a different connotation that they're just going to get overwhelmed. We take every situation, and it's a possibility to teach, to learn. And don't think of just prepping as, having food and your guns. You also need to think of skills. So you might start out, especially a woman, as skills that she needs to learn. Something as simple as learning to change a flat on the car, or possibly, what would we do if there's a home invasion? Or even if there's, in case of a fire, where would we go? Let's have a fire drill. Then you can expand on that when they're more receptive and go, let's say if we're going to have a time bug out, but you could say a time that we have to evacuate, let's have a drill on that, what we would take. And then you can build from there. Another way to get someone into prepping is to do things with them. Why don't you and your wife go out and take a first aid class? That is definitely prepper skills that you need. But it's fun that you can do it together. And you can both be certified, which is great. Or if you're trying to deal with maybe children, what I've always done is, let's start a hobby. I have taught my children how to sew, crochet, can. These are all things that are fun to do, especially when you do them with your family. But they're also prepper skills. Another big one is, why don't you start a garden? If you don't have room for a big, full out garden, then start a little patio garden, maybe with a few vegetables, herbs. And that's a great prepper skill to get into. See if she can preserve the herbs. Y'all could get into saving seeds. So it doesn't have to be all or nothing. And then, like with my husband, after we started to get into it a little bit, and he was more receptive, I brought up, what about home security? We should have some guns in the house. And we have went and gotten some guns. We haven't really had a chance around here lately to fire them, but it would be a great thing to take them to the rifle range or, the pistol range and do it as a family. And we have been shooting a little bit on our land as a family. And it's great fun, but it also teaches those skills. It's not just like you sit down with your wife or your husband or your children and this is, we need to figure out what we're going to do to prep. Prepping can be in everyday life. When we were without electricity one year, it gave us a chance to sit down and say, we have a Coleman stove, but what other kind of stoves or alcohol stoves or what can we use if we have to use it in emergency to cook on if the electricity is out or if the gas is out. So that was a great thing to really get into. The other day, my husband was watching the news, and in a city, they had a storm, and the electricity was out, and also it was a boil water notice. In this house, I have electricity stove. I don't have a gas stove, which I really regret. And we sat down and said, well, what would happen if that was us? If you have a boil water notice, first of all, we have, water storage, but that's a great way to get into water storage with your wife. And another thing is, what are other ways that we can make this water acceptable to drink if we couldn't boil it? So out of that, we went to the store, bought a few more. I love my gadgets and stuff. We bought a few more water purification tablets for our 72-hour kits. And we also picked up a little portable water filter that goes in my bomb. I really didn't need it, but I liked it. But he was very receptive of that. So I'm just saying, when you sit down and talk with anyone, whether it's a woman or what, be on, nonchalant at first about it, and then maybe sit down and say, you know what, look at this stuff. Look at this earthquake that's happened. How could we prepare for it? Look at the volcano. You might be in Hawaii. Look at the big fire that's in the California. How would we prepare for that? And if a fire was coming towards us, could we pick up and leave in about 10 minutes to evacuate? So put it on real world experience and real world uh, things that can really happen. And then after they're more receptive, then you can start talking about, well, what if martial law was enacted? Martial law was enacted during Hurricane Katrina. What would happen if we were broken into? What would we do if we had to go and hunt for food? And build up from there. And I just think that you would get more done, because I've done that with my husband, and now he's really into everything, which I'm really happy now. I've even talked to into putting solar in when we build our little tool shed. We're going to start with a couple solar panels that I bought, and if he likes that, we might think about doing our whole house. So I'm really hoping that'll work. But start in small steps and build from there. And you might be surprised. And don't always bring up guns and, oh, that's the most awesome, whatever. Because as soon as I see a gun video come up, I usually don't watch them. I usually skip to the ones that are, about a new bob or a first aid kit. So what you waiting for? Bye.